Hi, my inspired friends. It's been over 8 weeks since I've done a video. Exactly 8 weeks ago, I had a riding accident that caused my right arm, my dominant arm, to be broken. It was called the humerus break, and I have been in a clamshell of a cast for 8 weeks. I just actually got it off. I can use it when I go see the horses. I can use it when I drive. Haven't done any of that yet. So it's been 8 weeks since I have been to really see my horses. I have gone there, but I haven't touched them. I haven't gone out to commune with them because I did my healing the natural way. I did not use metal or a plate or pins. I did it the natural way. So my whole job in the last 8 weeks was to heal. So sitting in my special healing chair, it's actually a recliner couch, and spent at least 3 to 4 weeks sleeping on that, sitting on that. Really, for 2 weeks, I could barely walk. It's weird how the rest of your body decides it can't help you because your arm is broken. You need help. So my husband actually was my right arm. In fact, he still is, and so much gratitude and so much appreciation. So that's my last 8 to 10 weeks of not doing videos and not doing any videos with my horses. So I just wanted to catch up with all of you. One of the stories that I want to share with you is not only what happens to us when we have trauma, but what if we adopt or inherit or buy a traumatized horse? And what are the tools and techniques, or maybe those don't work, to help that horse so that you can ride them, so you can do barrels, so you can go running down the road with them, you can do liberty, and they are just terrified of almost everything you do, of the saddle, of the bridle, of being outside, being inside, seeing that blanket. Oh my gosh, a winter blanket. Oh, what's that jacket that you're wearing? I've had quite a few training horses that I have had to walk through to bring them into balance. And that's the same thing with humans. When I came off my horse 8 weeks ago, the very first thing I did was I did my trauma work. One of the things immediately, I knew I had broken my arm, I knew it was bad, but I didn't hit my head, I didn't hurt anything else, and so I went and put my left hand here, and I was leaning probably more on my right side because that's where I fell. And I just went, oh, I'm safe. I'm okay. I am whole. I will be okay. And I am loved. And I started this deep breathing that I do to help bring, the cortisol, the adrenaline, my reactions, my hormones were surging at this point. Why? Because I just had a traumatic accident and I really hurt myself. So during this time, I just really believed that my body would do what it needed to do so that I could get to the hospital and find out what was going and go to the next step. And by the time I did get to the hospital, I was in full body shakes. Now, unbeknownst to me, this is what animals do in the wild when they're traumatized and they're coming off of their adrenaline. And the doctors and the nurses didn't tell me that. I was shaking so hard that it was actually hurting my arm even more. So as I'm laying there waiting for x-rays and MRIs, they started putting warm blankets on me. But I found out later that that was my body starting to release that cortisol, to start releasing that adrenaline because I didn't need it anymore. And I didn't want to hold on to that because fear is something that goes really down deep into our DNA if we don't deal with it. And many of you have been traumatized by many different situations in life. And those situations can be accidents, they can be SA, it can be alcoholism, it can be divorce, it can be a child dying, it can be so many different things that are different levels of trauma. And I call it that God created us to peel those onion layers of trauma away so that it doesn't become a part of who we are. So part of who we are ends up being a story also. And so I have to change that story of the accident so that I don't relive the trauma. What do you think about that? It's interesting. A lot of people don't know to do that. And so part of the work I do with humans that have been traumatized by their horses is this type of work. And it's called peeling back the onion. So when you think about peeling an onion, there's many layers to get to the sweet spot of the onion that you're going to use. And I look at it the same way, that if you hold on to trauma for years, you have to peel back layers of your trauma, of your fear, of the pain, of the whatever you've been dealing with. So how does that equate to horses then who have been traumatized? Think about horses that you have bought later in life, those horses that probably had bad training, incomplete training, maybe really punishing training. Maybe they never got over saddling that was bad, that was too tight, too restrictive, or bits that hurt. And one of the things that we have to do is to help our horses to peel those onion layers away, to start finding balance. And I do that with training, with positive reinforcement training, because I can break things down into small little bites of information that won't overload the horse to going over threshold. And I'm talking about traumatized horses. I'm not talking about Sally, who everything is fine with. I'm talking about those horses that have either been injured, have either had trailer loading experiences that have been traumatic, hitting their head, flipping over backwards, trainers that have, my second horse that I had, his initial training for the bit was he had a twisted, I think it was a barb snaffle. I've never seen one, so I don't know. But it was a twisted thing, and it was tied to his back leg, to his hock. Why? Cut through his tongue. Why? It was done because he was stubborn. I'm going to use my other hand. Stubborn. He was stubborn. He was introverted. They're all the words. He couldn't learn. And that's not true. That isn't true at all. In fact, these what we call more introverted, more quiet horses that we look at and they go, oh, they're so brave, so courageous. A lot of times they hold everything in and they don't show that on the outside, like really frightened horses who run around and you can tell that they're afraid. Totally different. And so when I work with horses that have been traumatized, it's my job as a trainer to really observe, remember, and compare, and then see if I can start peeling those onion layers, that's what I call it, slowly so that the horse can respond without reaction. God created us to react at things. Horses too, they react before they think most of the time. But if we can help them to get into the thinking part of their brain instead of always reacting, wow, that's what you want in your partnership. So for me, my reaction has been I have to tuck myself off of the shelf, as I call it, if I go walking and there's a lot of dogs with leashes, because I get a little fearful that those dogs will come and wrap their leash around me and I'm gonna fall. I just don't, I can't fall. My job is to heal, that's it. So I've had to really work through that. But am I afraid of my horses? No, I did my work, especially over 8 weeks. So my breathing with my affirmations come in is that I am whole and I am healed. My spirit is healed. My soul is healed. My emotions are healed. My body is healing. And at 66, bones don't heal as quickly as when you're 20. So, yay, I'm on my way. This is the first time I've worn a long sleeve shirt. Woo, in Florida and 88 degrees. So think about all of that as you think about your own horsemanship. Do you get fearful? We all do. There's nothing wrong with it. It's our way of our brain telling us, you know, danger, danger. But if you're always fearful with your horse and you can't progress, why don't you get a hold of me? I'm Inspired Horsemanship, and I'm on Instagram. I'm here. You can leave a comment. You can direct message me. And I'm on Facebook, Inspired Horsemanship. And we can talk about it, because you know what? We don't want to stay there. And if your horses are in a state of trauma, in a state of fear, in a state always reacting, that it causes you to respond and react like, I don't know, I don't trust him, he doesn't like me. I've heard it all, by the way, you know, so think about that and we can talk about that. I do both online training by Zoom or by FaceTime. And I also do, if you're in Minnesota or if you're in Florida, I can come and do it at your place, or you can come to mine. So let's think about that as all of us heal. This is beautiful June. Yay, it's June. Summer is here. The summer heat and humidity is here in Florida. Not as bad as last year. I hear Minnesota's worse. So I want you to know that healing can happen. We can heal with joy. We can heal with purpose. We can heal for the future, for today and tomorrow. So love you, blessings on you, on your herd, and on your family, and everything you do.